156. Private display of PIP Lido, via Roma Distra, 30,016 Venice, Netherlands, edit. F-84F. 52 to 7174, P119, on display in front of the Dutch School in Skisbergen. 52 to 7185, P134, in storage at Rockva Airport College, Hoofddorp. 53 to 6582, P229, stored at Riek, painted as P312. 53 to 6584, P248, gate guard at Volkel Air Base. 53 to 6600, P254, in storage at Nationaal Militair Museum, Soesterberg. 53 to 6604, P224, stored at Riek. 53 to 6612, P226, on display at Nationaal Militair Museum, Soesterberg. 53 to 6726, P230, no section only, stored at Nationaal Militair Museum, Soesterberg. 53 to 6742, P231, gate guard at Eindhoven Air Base. 53 to 6916, P191, gate guard at Gisrijen Air Base. RF-84F. 51 to 11253, TP19, in storage at Nationaal Militair Museum, Soesterberg. 53 to 7644, FR-31X. Belgian Air Force. Now displayed as P7 at Skisbergen. Norway, edit. RF-84F Thunder Flash. 51 to 17055 T3H, restored to original bare aluminium scheme, Air Force Training Center, Kjevik. 51 to 17045 T3N, AZN, Flyhistorisk Museum, Sola, Stavanger Airport, Sola, near Stavanger. 51 to 17047 AZA, Norwegian Aviation Museum, BOD, no section only. 51 to 17053 AZG, Forsvares Flysamling Gardermoen, Oslo Airport, Gardermoen near Oslo. 52 to 8723 AZX, Sandefjord Airport, Torp, near Sandefjord. Poland, edit. F-84F. 52 to 7157, ex-Belgium, Polish Aviation Museum, Krakow. Russia, edit. F-84F. 1. 3033, ex-Belgium, Technical Museum, Moscow. Turkey, edit. F-84F. 52 to 8733 Istanbul Aviation Museum. 52 to 8941 Atatürk Airport, Istanbul. RF-84F. 51 to 1860, Bursa Uludağ University. 51 to 1901 Istanbul Aviation Museum. 51 to 1917 Istanbul Aviation Museum. 51 to 1924, ex-Dutch AFAS P24, Tuif Museum, Etimesgut. United Kingdom, edit. F-84F. 52 to 6541 North East Land, Sea and Air Museums, Sunderland. 52 to 7133, Bentwaters Cold War Museum. United States, edit. XF-84F. 49 to 2430 National Museum of the United States Air Force, Dayton, Ohio. F-84F. 1 unknown on roadside display, private owner, in Blacksville, West Virginia. 251 to 1386 Barksdale Global Power Museum, Barksdale AFB, Louisiana. 351 to 1620 Empire State Aerosciences Museum in Glenville, New York. 451 to 1639 Springfield Downtown Airport, Springfield, Missouri. 551 to 1640 Hill Aerospace Museum, Hill AFB, Utah. 651 to 1659 Combat Air Museum, Topeka Regional Airport at Forbes Field, Topeka, Kansas. 751 to 1713 Delta County Airport in Escanaba, Michigan. 851 to 1714 Strategic Air Command and Aerospace Museum in Ashland, Nebraska. 951 to 1739 Korean War Memorial South Whitley, Indiana. 1051 to 1772 Aerospace Museum of California in McClellan, California. 1151 to 1786 Virginia Air and Space Center in Hampton, Virginia. 1251 to 1797 Ohio Ang Base in Springfield, Ohio. 1351 to 1817 Camp Robinson in Little Rock, Arkansas. 1451 to 1818 Fairfield Map in Iowa. 1551 to 1822 Illinois Ang Base in Springfield, Illinois. 1651 to 9350 Air Force Flight Test Center Museum at Edwards AFB, California. 1751 to 9396 Holloman AFB, New Mexico. 1851 to 9430 Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst, New Jersey. False markings of 52 to 7066 applied. 1951 to 9432 March Field Air Museum in Riverside, California. 2051 to 9433 Castle Air Museum in Atwater, California. 2151 to 9444 Seminole Valley Park in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. 2251 to 9451 Wilson Park in Granite City, Illinois. 2351 to 9480 American Air Power Museum, East Farmingdale, New York. 2451 to 9495 Air Force Armament Museum, Eglin AFB, Florida. 2551 to 9501 Yankee Air Museum, Belleville, Michigan. 2651 to 9514 Allen County War Memorial Coliseum in Fort Wayne, Indiana. 2751 to 9522 Evergreen Aviation and Space Museum in McMinnville, Oregon. 2851 to 9531 Palm Springs Air Museum, Palm Springs, California, formerly at Octave Chanute Aerospace Museum in Rantoul, Illinois. 2952 to 6379 Wauchula Veterans Park in Wauchula, Florida. 3052 to 6385 VFW Post 2503, Omaha, Nebraska. 3152 to 6438 Georgia Veterans State Park in Caudle, Georgia. 3252 to 6455 American Legion Post #490, Houston, Texas. 3352 to 6456 Veterans of Foreign Wars Post #6791, West Chicago, Illinois. 3452 to 6461 Lackland AFB, Texas. 3552 to 6470 Mountain Home AFB, Idaho. 3652 to 6476 Aviation History and Technology Center, Marietta, Georgia. 3752 to 6497 Iowa Gold Star Museum in Johnston, Iowa. 3852 to 6526 National Museum of the United States Air Force in Dayton, Ohio. 3952 to 6553 Window on the Plains Museum in Dumas, Texas. 4052 to 6555 Wings of Freedom Aviation Museum in Horsham, Pennsylvania. 4152 to 6563 Pima Air and Space Museum in Tucson, Arizona. 4252 to 6634 Defense Supply Center Richmond in Richmond, Virginia. 4352 to 6701 Museum of Aviation, Robbins AFB, Georgia. 4452 to 6782 Luke AFB, Arizona. 4552 to 6993 Wilbur Wright Birthplace and Museum near Millville, Indiana. 4652 to 7019 Cheyenne Municipal Airport in Wyoming. 4752 to 7080 England AFB, Louisiana. 4852 to 8837 Richmond Airport, Virginia. 4952 to 8886 South Dakota Air and Space Museum at Ellsworth AFB, South Dakota. 5052 to 9089 Kansas Aviation Museum, Wichita, Kansas. F-84F Thunder Flash. 51 to 1929 Neligh, Nebraska. 51 to 1944 Pima Air and Space Museum in Tucson, Arizona. 51 to 1948 Harlan Airport, HNR, in Harlan, Iowa. 51 to 11259 Lincoln Air National Guard Base, Nebraska. 51 to 17046 Hill Aerospace Museum, Hill AFB, Utah, nose section only. 52 to 7249 Dannelly Field and Collection, Montgomery, Alabama. 52 to 7259 National Museum of the United States Air Force in Dayton, Ohio. 52 to 7265 Planes of Fame Museum in Chino, California. 52 to 7409 Birmingham ANGB, Birmingham, Alabama. 52 to 7421 Yankee Air Museum, Belleville, Michigan. 53 to 7529 Berry Field ANGB, Nashville, Tennessee. 53 to 7570 Enker Middle School, Candler, North Carolina. 53 to 7595 American Air Power Museum, East Farmingdale, New York. Accidents and Incidents, edit. 1 On the 7th of July 1954, one F-84F of a flight of 4 en route to Bergstrom Air Force Base in Austin, TX, crashed into the Kansas City, Kansas Business District shortly after departing Fairfax Municipal Airport, Kansas City, KS. Second Lieutenant John H. Capels, pilot, assigned to the 27th Fighter Escort Wing, died in the crash. 3 civilians died on the ground when the plane crashed onto their homes. The plane had just come off the General Motors Fairfax assembly plant production line and had been test flown. Eyewitnesses reported that the plane plunged at a high speed toward the ground after the flight had banked toward the west from the east. The 3 remaining planes returned to Fairfax Municipal Airport. 2 On the 9th of December, 1955, a USAF F-84F on an instrument training flight from RAF Sculthorpe in Norfolk experienced a flameout and the pilot ejected. The aircraft crashed into Lodgemoor Hospital, Sheffield. The crash killed 1 patient and injured 7 others. 3 On the 4th of April, 1957, the USAF Captain Richard W. Higgins died after a low ejection near the 1st Enfeldbruck Air Base. He was flying one of the first F-84Fs of the German Air Force. 4 On the 1st of August, 1960, Captain Finn Erik Anderson of the Royal Norwegian Air Force flying F-84F Thunderflash registration T3S crashed into the Stigman Peak of Skrimfilla in southern Norway. The pilot was killed. As of 2023, some wreckage remains on the mountain. 5 On the 20th of November, 1960, a F-84F Thunderstreak of the Royal Netherlands Air Force crashed at 7:50 p.m. into a farm in Lutjeulum, NL, between Jelsrip and Franeker, the Netherlands. The pilot and the family of 6 people who lived at the farm were all killed. The farm was destroyed and burned down and the livestock was killed. 6 On the 14th of September, 1961, 2 West German F-84Fs of the West German Air Force crossed into East German airspace due to a navigational error, eventually landing at Berlin-Tegel Airport, evading a large number of Soviet fighter aircraft. The event came at a historically difficult time during the Cold War, 1 month after the construction of the Berlin Wall. 7 On the 28th of January, 1962, the USAF Lieutenant Donald Slack died after striking a 6,188 feet, 1,886 m, ASL, mountain in central France in his F-84F of the New Jersey Air National Guard. The book Stranger to the Ground by Richard Bach was dedicated to him. Specifications, F-84F, edit. Data from fighters of the United States Air Force, combat aircraft since 1945. General characteristics. 1 Crew, 1. 2 Length, 43 feet 4.75 in, 13.23 m. 3 Wingspan, 33 feet 7.25 in, 10.25 m. 4 Height, 14 feet 4.75 in, 4.39 m. 5 Wing area, 325 square feet, 30 m. 6 Empty weight, 13,830 pound, 6,200 kilograms. 7 Max takeoff weight, 28,000 pound, 12,701 kilograms. 8 Power plant, 1 Wright J65W3 turbojet, 7,220 lbf, 32.1 kN, thrust. Performance. 1 Maximum speed, 695 miles per hour, 1,119 kilometers per hour, 604 kN, at sea level. 2 Range, 810 mi, 1,304 kilometers, 704 mi, combat radius with 2 drop tanks. 3 Service ceiling, 46,000 feet, 14,000 m. 4 Rate of climb, 8,200 foot forward/min, 42 m/s. 5 Wing loading, 86 pound forward/square feet, 423 kg/m. Armament: 6.50 in, 12.7 mm, Browning M3 machine guns, 4 mounted in nose-over intake, 2 mounted in the wing roots, 1,800 rounds total. Up to 6,000 pound, 2,727 kilograms, of rockets and bombs, including one Mark 7 nuclear bomb. Avionics: 1 a 1 cm or a 4-gun sight with APG-30 or Mk-18 ranging radar. Communications equipment: 1 and /ARC-33 or 34 command set radio. 2 and /APX6 or 6 AMIFF set. 3 and /R6 radio compass. 4 and /APW11 or 11 AM radar set. 5 and /APN21 TACAN set. Notable appearances in media, edit. Richard Bach, who later wrote the bestseller Jonathan Livingston Seagull, was an F-84F pilot who was once activated for duty in Europe. His first book, Stranger to the Ground, described in detail what it was like to fly the Thunderstreak in the course of an operational flight at night from England to France in adverse weather. F-84Fs were also used to represent North Korean MiG-15 fighters in the 1958 film version of James Salter's novel The Hunters, because none of the Soviet fighters were available during the ongoing Cold War for filming. They were painted a flat gray with red star insignia. See also, edit. Related development: 1 Republic F-84 Thunderjet, 2 Republic F-105 Thunderchief, 3 Republic X-F-84H Thunderscreech, 4 Republic X-F-91 Thunderscepter, 5 RF-84K Ficon. Aircraft of comparable role, configuration, and era: 1 CAC Sabre, 2 Dassault Mist, 3 de Havilland Venom, 4 Grumman F9 Cougar, 5 Saab 32 Lansen. References, edit.